Hello, Grace Community Church. Pastor Steve here, and I want to wish you a happy Memorial Day. Now, you're viewing this on May 26th, but I'm filming it on Memorial Day, May 25, and I hope you had a great weekend. Today, May 26th, we're looking at 1 Kings chapter 4, and then we're also looking at a couple Psalms of Solomon, Psalm 72 and Psalm 127. So if yesterday was all about the wealth of Solomon, and I have a picture of here, which is, I think, an artist having some fun, but you see Solomon surrounded by all this gold, and it just seemed like so many leaders around the world were giving Solomon gold. And that kind of continues on through today, but today has a little different theme also. And this picture is an artist depiction of Solomon composing, because our passage says that he wrote 3,000 proverbs, of which we have some collected in the book of Proverbs, and over 1,000 songs, of which we have a few preserved in the book of Psalms. Now, there's a couple key things that show up in this passage which are noteworthy for future reading of the Bible. When we look at 1 Kings chapter 4, one of the things that we read is the people were now more numerous than sand on the seashore. This is extremely important for this very simple reason. That was the promise given to Abraham. When God said to him, look to your north, south, east, west. All this land will be yours, and you, the man who can't have any children because your wife is barren, your descendants will be more numerous than the sands on the seashore. So what you see is that this passage is the fulfillment of that promise. Also, later on in that chapter, verse 24, there is another interesting phrase which shows up, and that is every family had their own home and garden. Now, that's the way the New Living Translation puts it, but their own fig tree or grapevine to rest under. Now, you may be familiar with that because if you ever saw the musical Hamilton, which has George Washington sing a song about wanting his own grapevine, and this actually comes from numerous letters George Washington wrote, and it's building off this passage, also a passage in Micah and a passage in Zechariah. But the difference is, in this passage, all these things are fulfilled in Solomon's reign. But in the prophetic passages later, it's speaking to a devastated people after they have been dealing with the wreckage of their falling away from the Lord, that day can come again. Now, moving on, Psalm 72 is a psalm in which Solomon basically says, may the king, and may the king take care of the poor, may the king have success. It's really kind of Solomon's wish list for his own kingdom. And finally, Psalm 127 is a real treasure. It has the beginning verse, unless the Lord builds a house, the workers labor in vain. How true is that? This, quite honestly, is one of my prayers for Grace Community Church, because I want us to be a community that does not labor in vain, that the Lord is blessing his church because he's blessing it, not because me or Pastor Seth are doing some incredible job. It also goes on to say things like this: children are a blessing of the Lord, and particularly the one who has his quiver full of them, comparing them to arrows. Well, we live in a generation in which so many young couples are choosing not to have family or children, and I would say that is contrary to what the scripture commands and instructs, that the blessing is in having children. So if you're of that age where you can have children, I would say enjoy the fruit of that. And if you're not, encourage your family to be fruitful and multiply. This is the word of the Lord. Hey, God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow.